Let's just dive right in, shall we? Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating framework on the nature of existence, wealth, and human behavior. We're looking at a text by Jeff Feng that completely redefines what it means to live a spiritual life. It's an exploration of what true richness actually looks like when you strip away, well, literally everything society tells us is important. We're going to walk through a hierarchical framework of existence that will totally challenge our everyday assumptions. So get ready to re-examine how you view the world around you.
To kick things off, I want you to really think about a question posed directly by the source material. Imagine for a second you're a Nobel Prize winner. Would you still care what brand of clothes you wear? The text follows this up with even more provocative questions. If you were a billionaire, would you still care what luxury car you drive? If you were a saint, would you really care about living in some high-end mansion? These questions are designed to hook us, right? They immediately disrupt our baseline thinking. The author is suggesting that at a certain level of internal elevation, whether that's intellectual, financial, or spiritual, the external trappings we usually obsess over, they suddenly become completely irrelevant.
Because the text establishes this really fascinating core paradox. It's a direct inverse relationship between the inside and the outside. On one side, you've got internal richness. According to Shufang, when your spirit and soul wealth are genuinely rich, your external presentation naturally becomes extremely simple, unadorned, completely natural. There's absolutely no need to perform for anybody. But then on the flip side, we see internal poverty. The author argues that the more someone focuses on their external appearance, the more they're actually lacking internal richness. In this framework, needing that external splendor, like flashy clothes or big impressive titles, is actually just a symptom of inner emptiness. It's basically a way to balance out a profound lack of confidence.
So let's move forward and see how this overarching philosophy translates into actual grounded behavior. I mean, it's one thing to talk about internal richness in theory, but what does an individual who has actually chosen to live in the spiritual world look like on a random Tuesday? How do they behave? Well, according to the text, their inner state directly manifests in a ruthless discarding of the material. They don't just, casually prefer simplicity. They actively and completely detach from our everyday societal obsessions.
This philosophy results in just a sheer, total detachment from societal norms. And the source is incredibly precise about this. It says women won't care about necklaces, pendants, rings, or designer bags. Men won't care about brand-name clothes, luxury cars, or expensive watches. They don't store gold or silver. They absolutely refuse to buy valuable calligraphy or antiques. They won't even travel across the seas for vacations or go to high-end restaurants just to show off. And perhaps the most telling point, they will never flatter, fawn over, or praise the powerful and celebrities. They simply do not play the game of material status. Like, at all.
But why go to such extremes, right? It's really important to note that this isn't about self-punishment or some kind of asceticism just for the sake of suffering. It's anchored in a very specific philosophy. The text uses this great quote, "Utensils should be plain and clean. Pottery is better than gold and jade. Eat good quality food, but in moderation. Vegetables are better than costly delicacies." You see, for someone living in the spiritual world, literally everything in life is measured by just two metrics, practicality and comfort. As long as clothing, accommodation, and travel are comfortable, the external splendor just doesn't matter. They choose the clean pottery over the gold cup because, well, the gold adds absolutely nothing to the actual function or comfort of drinking from it.
And here is the absolutely crucial point. This practical, minimalist approach to physical objects, it doesn't stop with physical objects. It bleeds directly over into how this spiritual person interacts and judges other human beings. Think about it. If you literally don't value gold or luxury cars, you're obviously not going to value people based on whether they possess gold or luxury cars. This requires a total reframing of human connection.
And that creates a really stark contrast between standard societal norms and what the spiritual person focuses on. Where society typically judges by wealth, the spiritual person focuses entirely on character. Where society looks at social status, the spiritual person only cares about actual ability. They don't even prioritize blood relationships, focusing instead on genuine emotional closeness. And they won't judge you by your worldly success or failure, but by your inner connotation. Because of this beautifully reframed perspective, they treat everyone equally. They choose to respect the elderly and sympathize with the weak, rather than, fawning over the powerful and despising the lower classes.
This egalitarian worldview culminates in a strict, almost rigorous practice of non-judgment. The source notes that a person in the spiritual world will make absolutely zero evaluations without knowing the complete ins and outs of an event.
They absolutely refuse to judge people without understanding their original intentions. They completely abstain from making emotional comments based on someone's strength or status. They maintain a totally open mind to new thoughts and models. And if they have doubts, they prefer to seek answers from what the text calls the greatest creator. In fact, their commitment to this open, non-judgmental state is so fierce that the text states they would rather embrace loneliness and be entirely alone than be polluted by joining the mainstream stream of societal prejudices.
Section 2. The Grand Framework. Zhu Feng's 4 Levels of Life. Let's get into it.
Up until now, we've been looking at the everyday micro-behaviors of these individuals. But to really understand why these behaviors manifest, we have to zoom out to a grand cosmic hierarchy. Let's walk step by step up this ascension model. Down at the very bottom, step 1, we have the material world. The text describes lives here as being closest to the animal world. Moving up to step 2, we find the spiritual world. Now this is where individuals truly understand the principles of being human. This is the realm of all those minimalist, non-judgmental behaviors we just discussed. Step 3 is the soul world, representing the absolute highest level humans can achieve, placing them close to saints and Buddhas. Finally, at the very peak, step 4 is the holographic world, which is strictly the realm of gods.
When we compare just those first 2 levels, the text makes a really profound claim. The material world is chained by physical shackles, all those obsessions with wealth and status we talked about earlier. But breaking free from those shackles to simply live in the spiritual world, that is considered a massive, remarkable achievement. The author states that if a person can make just this one jump, they are considered land celestial beings who can, quite literally, depart this life with a smile. But what about going further? What about hitting step 3, the soul world? The text is quick to point out the extreme statistical rarity of this level. We're not talking 1 in 100 here. It is 1 in 10,000. Reaching the soul world requires breaking free even from the bondages of the spiritual world. It is the fruit of thousands of years of cultivation and practice, making it completely beyond the reach of ordinary people, and ultimately transforming humans into deity celestial beings and Buddhas.
And finally, we hit the ultimate boundary, the holographic world. The source text is completely unambiguous about this top level. It firmly declares that humans should not harbor any illusions about it whatsoever. It is absolutely impossible for humans to enter the holographic world. It is purely the realm of gods and the greatest creator. It serves as the ultimate, totally unreachable ceiling of this cosmic hierarchy. Which brings us to our final thought. We've explored the huge differences between internal richness and external poverty, we've looked at the complete rejection of luxury and societal status, and we've mapped out Zhu Feng's 4 levels of cosmic life. So I want to leave you with this question to really chew on. Look at your own life, your own relationship with luxury, judgment, and physical objects. Based on your attachments right now, which realm were you currently inhabiting? Are you chained to the material, or are you breaking free? It's definitely something to think about. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and as always, keep questioning the world around you.